Hello, this is Vicki Jervickas at the Greater Gainesville Chamber, and I am the Director of Public Policy and Grassroots Engagement, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Raemi Eagle Glenn. She is one of our candidates for the County Commission District 1 seat. She's going to introduce herself so we can get to know her a little bit better, and then I have some questions for her that she has not seen, nor have any of the candidates, and then she'll wrap it up, and we'll have a productive discussion today. So thanks and welcome, Raemi.
Thank you. Hello, Raemi Eagle Glenn. I live in Gainesville, District 1, Alachua County, with my husband and 2 daughters. We moved here in 2008. I attended University of Florida Law. This isn't my first go around at local politics. I campaigned in 2020, and I think we had a really good run, and I'm back in 2022. I am running as a Republican, and I was actually just appointed to the seat 1 on the county commission by Governor Ron DeSantis. So had a very hefty background check and I was cleared. So you know you've got somebody who has honesty and integrity and the credentials to be a leader in the community.
Very good. Okay, let's jump into some questions so we can get a little bit more on your views. So the first question is, what do you perceive are the 3 most important concerns facing the county right now?
Smart growth is number 1. We are growing. There is no stopping it. We have, 10,000 people coming to Florida every day. And that's for a good reason, because we are what I call the last land of freedom, the beacon of freedom for the entire world. Even if people seem to disagree with Governor Ron DeSantis, they don't disagree with him enough to stay away. So smart growth is one of my platforms. Developers are coming, wanting to provide housing, wanting to provide spaces for job providers to come in, and we need to do it smart. And that happens with a conversation between these developers with the capital to build it, and with the people who are living in these surrounding areas. So I've already started having these conversations. And let me tell you, when people show up to the county commission meetings, it makes all the difference. So if you are a citizen or a stakeholder who has comments or concerns about how we grow, please come to the meetings. Our agendas are printed or provided to the public, I believe, usually the Friday before we have a Tuesday regular meeting. There's always meetings going on. So please check the Alachua County Board of Commissioners website. Number 2, public safety. I am a huge advocate for our first responders, and I actually voted unanimously with my colleagues on the board to increase the fire assessment. We have currently in our what is considered a progressive community a brownout at one of our fire stations, and that doesn't sound very progressive to me. That actually sounds regressive. And yes, I'm a Republican, and yes, I decided to raise the assessment. That's because we need to take care of our community by making sure that we have first responders available to reach all corners of our county at all times. Number 3, private property rights. We have what's coming out called the rental ordinance, and it's not law yet, but it's pushing to be. And this is going to create more burdens upon private property owners who rent out their homes. That's because there's been a few problems with bad actors, but most landlords, property owners are working in good faith with their tenants who they contract with to provide them a safe place to live, to enjoy their rental unit. So we do not need extra fees onto homeowners. We do not need to be forced to purchase green appliances by a certain year. And we don't need to start a whole new department for code enforcement for rentals when we're having hiring problems and budgeting problems to begin with in our county. We do not need to create another layer of bureaucracy at this time. Those are the 3 most important things: smart growth, public safety, private property rights.
Very good. Okay. That leads into our next question, which is, what do you think the role is of the Board of County Commissioners? in our community?
I have learned with my swearing in on June 28th that we have a very, very important role, but it's also very practical. When people watch national news, stuff coming from Washington, D.C., either Fox News or CNN, those problems, I don't even want to get into those. I think what's happening nationally and what's happening with our media is abhorrent. And when we pull back, focus on our local community, all politics is local. There is so much that we can agree on because it's practical. It's budgeting, it's private property, it's renters, it's how we grow, it's roads and sidewalks. So the role of the county commissioner is to be the point source for the people to come to about local concerns. And our job is also to discuss openly among our colleagues, my 4 other board members, to keep a cordial professional relationship with the board members and the county staff so that we are making wise decisions for the good of all, not for our own personal platforms or our own egos.
Very good. Okay. You touched on this a little bit, but gives you a chance to drill down a little bit more if you'd like. What would be your top priorities and projects if you stay in office?
Economic development. I voted unanimously with my colleagues on the board to continue the Gainesville reinvestment area tax district and promoting growth and economic opportunities in the east side of the county and in Gainesville specifically is a top priority. We see lots of growth happening, especially in the west side, and some of the citizens would probably say too much growth. With driving for economic stimulus and impact, we also have to consider public safety and how we're going to allocate our resources and our funds to make sure that we have the public safety infrastructure to meet the needs of a growing community. We need to increase our tax base. We need housing. We need to welcome people here and say this is the place you want to live, work, and play. We are a dynamic community. I think people who've lived here at least a little while, I've been here since 2008. Gainesville, Alachua County was considered maybe more of a quiet town. That's not the case anymore. I see the projects happening like Celebration Point and the public-private sector endeavor, the new sports center at Celebration Point, and that stuff is exciting and it's visionary. And we have a lot more opportunities for excellent projects like that that enrich the community for all people. And I want to be the most vocal advocate to bring these things forward.
Very good. You touched on one of our new ordinances. We have 2 proposed amendments that'll be on the ballot in the fall. Single member districts and the infrastructure sales tax that'll jump off the wild spaces public places. What are your position on these 2 ordinances?
Number 1, single member voting districts. I think it's a must for Alachua County. I think it's going to bring us forward. And single member voting districts, they developed out of the Jim Crow era because let's face it, segregation happened and segregation remains the way that our municipalities were developed after, those horrible times. And so single member voting districts, when we take a whole community and we break it up into manageable districts and allow the people who live in that district to vote for their representative, they are consolidating their voice and making their voice heard for the specific needs, for the specific feel, for the specific culture of their district. And I don't see how we can continue to move forward in a so-called progressive community with voting at large. You will consolidate your voice if you vote for single member voting districts. Right now, the most populous area of the county, basically Gainesville proper, is voting for the entire county based on their numbers alone. And the most of those numbers come from transient students who are making decisions for the entire county of permanent residents. And it's just not fair, and it's just not right. Number two, the infrastructure tax.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say I'm a Johnny come lately to the county commission, and I see that there is a culture of priorities that have been established over decades, and it's going to take time, and it's going to take a diversity of thought to change those priorities. Money has been allocated, spent heavily towards environmental preservation, parks and recreation, and even pieces of art like statues in front of these facilities that cost $40,000, $50,000, $75,000. When I look at these statues, I'm like, okay, that's beautiful, but we have a public works department that they are wonderful people. They are hard workers, and they do it with a smile, but they need funding. They need money, and they don't have it. There are roads projects that have been put off for 3 decades because it's never been a priority with the board and the way that it has been made up. So unfortunately, yes, we're faced with, okay, money's in different pots for different things. We don't have enough money in the pot for infrastructure, so we have to look at how we're going to increase those funds. And I guess the need and the quick fix is the infrastructure tax. And I am probably going to vote in favor of that. We need a culture change. We need fresh ideas so that we can stop with the tax increases and start with readjusting our priorities.
Okay, very good. All right, and now we have that final big wrap-up question, which is, why should the members of the business community vote for you?
I'm a businesswoman, and I was appointed by Ron DeSantis with his utmost confidence that I was going to make him look good and that I'm the person for the job. I think I've proved that running a successful law practice, running a small business, running a small family, and doing it with integrity and a very clean record shows that I'm the person with the scruples to be able to lead seat 1.
Very good. Okay, is there anything else that you wanted to tell us? Anything you didn't get to touch on, or just wrap it up and bring us home?
I'm happy to work with the community. I'm happy to work with my colleagues on the board. I think that there are many more things that we can agree on than disagree. So please watch me during my tenure here on the board, and I think you'll see that maybe I'm somebody you'd like to stick around.
Very good. Okay, thank you so much, Raemi, for joining us today and giving us a chance to get to know you even a little bit better. At the Gainesville Chamber, we are very committed to ensuring that the voices are heard. And so we want to remind you that the primary voting day is Tuesday, August 23rd. Please make use of our resources on our website and make sure you learn about the candidates and get out and vote. Thanks again so much, Raemi. Good luck on the trail.
Okay, thanks.